This story is just straight up crazy. My in-laws, they're mistreating me. Why? Not because they dislike me. Not because, I don't know, I'm trying to use their money. Nothing like that. They don't like me because literally, listen to this. I won't give up one of my babies to, well, my husband's sister. Yeah, it's that crazy, and I have every single update.
Hey everyone, my name's Stacey and I'm an accountant and I've been married to the love of my life for about 5 years now. He has a younger sister who's always so busy with work. I've never actually met anyone who's so in love with their work as Jolene is. You see, Mark's father is a business tycoon. As much as he's feared, he's also loved. Crazy, right? Mark's aunt, who is his mother's younger sister, stays at home and takes care of the house, while everyone else goes to work. Their mother passed on when they were young, and I don't really know a lot about her because Mark prefers not to talk about her. I met Mark in graduate school. He was not the happiest person because his father had pressured him to enroll in graduate school in order to have more knowledge about running the family business. He never really cared if he obtained good grades or not. He just wanted it to be over. One day, we were given a group project to work on, and he was my partner. And it was then that he realized that I have been eyeing him for quite some time. I was so shy around him, and he made me grow butterflies in my stomach. We went through a talking stage of about 6 months, and then we started dating. I could not believe it, as it was, and it still is, too good to be true. After we graduated, he suggested that I work in his father's company. But I felt like I needed my own freedom, so I decided to find a job elsewhere. 2 years after our graduation, Mark proposed to me and I happily accepted. We shared our dreams as we went on our honeymoon, and one of the dreams that we had was to have babies. My marriage is the best thing that has ever happened to me as it gives me someone to share everything with. Somebody to count on and someone who cares for me and returns my love. We are the best team anyone can ever come across, and I must say that his family has been so nice to me and I appreciate them so much. Although we've been going through a phase that is eating me up so much, I still love Mark unconditionally. We've been trying to have a baby ever since we got married, but we've been failing over and over again. We've followed so much of different doctors' advice, but absolutely no luck. I don't know if it's hurting him in the same way it does me. I've tried to, talk to him about it just to feel like he's not really with me. Well, all I want in this world is to be a mother. I want my blood to run around the home. I do. I feel like I'm failing my in-laws, and I don't know what else to do to have a baby. I'm 41 years of age, and I'm so scared that I might never have a child. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So today's story is very unique. The time frame on this one is spread out a lot. In fact, OP did not return to update the first original post for nearly 3 years, and update number 1's going to hit us with quite a shocker. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for daily videos, and let's see what's going on with OP 3 years later. It's been 3 years since my last post, and I've given up on trying to have children because clearly I'm not meant to have kids. They say that crying for what you don't have is wasting what you do have, so I have accepted it. What have I done that I'm not meant to be a mother? I can never understand why the universe wants me to suffer like this. My father-in-law has been pressuring me about getting children, and it hurts me every time because he has no idea how much I've tried to fulfill that wish. Everyone at home has started looking at me differently, and their treatment is also different towards me. Aunt Judy has suggested that I start helping out in the house as I'm useless. She says that I failed them all, and I thought they were nice people, but the colors they're showing here say otherwise. I guess the first impression really matters because they got me thinking that they are a family of nice people. I guess Mark is the only genuine person in his whole family. I wish I could say the same about his sister, but I hardly talk to her, so I can't really tell if she is or not. I started helping out in the house. As Aunt Judy said, although I help her out, it hurts me, as she says that I'm useless because I cannot bear children. A few days ago, I had an encounter with her. She demanded that I make dinner, and I was absolutely exhausted from work. Well, I was not in the position to make dinner or any kind of physical work. I made dinner and served the family silence, and, well, it covered the room as they tasted the food. They all started spitting loudly as the food tasted like trash, they say. Well, I don't know. I knew I had tasted the food when I cooked it, and it was okay. I could not understand where the salt came from, and it's been disturbing my mind ever since. I know that I'm not really a great cook, but neither am I that bad. Everyone looked at me with disappointment. And then Mark. He came and wanted to rescue me from his family lectures about my cooking, and he ordered takeaway and they all waited. I ran to the room and did not want to see anybody's face. Mark came to the room to comfort me, but I was untouchable, since I was boiling with fury and disappointment in myself for cooking trashy food, and I quote you this. It's not your fault that the food wasn't good. You just came from work. Auntie should have sympathized with you and just done her chores as usual. I know that you can cook well, honey. Don't feel bad. Mark said to me with sympathy as he massaged my shoulders, and I did not have the words to answer him because I knew he was just trying to make me feel better. I just wish that these people could understand what my husband and I are going through, because we did not choose to go through this. Now they look at me like a stranger just because I failed to give them what they want most. Man, life is so unfair. If this continues, I'll be forced to move out of this house because I cannot stand to be treated like this. Mark is hardly at home as he is a CEO of his father's company, so he hardly has free time on his hand. I've tried telling him about how his family has started treating me, but he did not seem like he believed me at all. At least if I cannot have children, can I at least have a normal relationship with my in-laws? This house and this family is mine until death, and I already cannot stand them. How will I cope with this kind of people around me every time? My husband, on the other hand, thinks I'm starting to get paranoid with his family, but the thing is that I just want to be treated like a part of the family and not like a pet. I did not know that the lack of childs in a house can bring sadness and problems between families. I'm considered barren even though I've given them the doctor's papers that clearly state I am not. They all blame me for not getting pregnant as if Mark is not needed for the baby-making process. I'm apparently at fault, and it does not sit well with me that I'm getting blamed. What if the problem is with Mark? I'm no longer part of the decision-making in the house because I've apparently failed everyone. Update number 2, 1 year later. Hey guys, so it's been a year since my last update, and I'm excited to announce that I'm finally a mother. I'd lost all hope of having a child, and I thought that it was not meant to be for me to have children. If I had not fallen, I would have never found out on time that I was in fact pregnant. Mark says that it's just the exhaustion of office work combined with house chores. I was busy mopping the house right after work, and I fell to the ground and lost consciousness. I later woke up in the hospital, and the doctor told me that I was hurt a little on the head from the fall, but the baby was okay. The baby? I cried as he told me because my dream was finally coming true. I asked him to let Mark in, and I shared the news with him, and I was so overjoyed. Now that I've granted my in-laws' wishes, they have changed again. I must say that this family is very confused and hard to understand as well. I get all the attention in the house now, and I'm not allowed to even move a muscle. I mean, I really do love the attention, but I don't like staying in bed doing nothing because it makes me feel absolutely useless. I recently had an argument with my father-in-law as he wants me to quit my job and become a stay-at-home mom. I did not go to graduate school just to be a stay-at-home wife, you know. I know that children need extra care and they would want their mother by their side every time, but I want to secure a future for them. I don't care how rich Mark's family is, I just want to play the most part in my children's lives. Mark's father was most definitely surprised because no one's ever talked back to him. Stacey, from now on you'll be staying at home to take care of the children. I don't want my grandchildren to grow up without a mother. If there's anything that you need, just call Judy and she'll get it for you. We need your energy to grow 3 musketeers. That's right. Triplets. I'm glad you finally considered having children. He said to me with a smile on my face, and then I replied to him, Mr. Marco, it's not because I don't want to have kids. It was completely out of my control as much as it was a disturbance to you as to me. I'm glad you're satisfied and happy with the daughter-in-law that you have now. Unfortunately, I wish to go back to work as soon as the children turn 9 months of age. I've already discussed it with my husband and he agreed. His smile changed quickly just like lightning. In case you did not know, I do not need to discuss things. I say these things and you should just do them. So it's not something to discuss, but rather than I say you do and you do. So I expect to see you in this house every single day. He said in such a bitter voice, and I could not help but get the answer back to him. In this house where I'm from, we discuss topics and hear everyone's take on the opinions before making a decision. So my take on this is that I'm not going to quit my job just to please you, sir, with all due respect. He was not at all happy with me, and I can almost say that he would have thrown a slap in my face if it wasn't for Mark, who interfered as soon as he entered the room. Mark looked at me with relief, as he was just in time to save me from his father's sharp words. He knew that whatever his father was going to say was not going to be something I would want to hear. I smiled at Mark as his father walked out of the room, and I quote you this. Why did you tell him already? I was waiting for the right time to tell him, you know. You know how my father behaves when someone says no to whatever he's saying. You have to be careful around him. I don't want him to say anything offensive that'll make you sad, Mark said to me with pity in his eyes. I immediately felt pity for him, as if it was an indication that his father has hurt him his whole life, and he never had the courage to talk back or stand up for himself. I cannot be treated like a dog or some circus animal, and it's not because I don't have respect for my father-in-law. I respect him very much, and I expect him to respect me too. I don't want to stay home like a suitcase, and he'll have to accept and respect my decision because this is my life. And I'll not allow him to live my life for me. The whole family loves him, yet they fear him, and I know there's nothing I can do to free Mark from his father's role. But I can stand out and be different. He may say offensive things to me now and then, but I don't really care. Someone has to teach him how to be a real father to his kids, and at least now I can understand why Jolene is always working, because she's always trying to please her father, and it's not love for work, but rather an obsession for work and a cry for a father's love. This family has a really weird way of showing love, I must say. Well, I'll be back for more updates soon. Update number 3, 6 months later. Wow, time flies by, doesn't it? It feels like yesterday when I told you about the children and about my father-in-law's behavior as a father and a head of the house. The weather in this house is so different, and when I mean weather, I mean the people. Different relationships, interactions, and everything social about them all. One time they love you, then boom, the next moment they want nothing to do with you, and I just hope you remember my sister-in-law Jolene. We finally had a conversation, and she shocked me to the core. She entered the living room from the office and sat on the couch close to my babies. She picked up Jolene and said, "This baby is so adorable. I wish I could have a baby, but I'm so busy with work and will not have time for labor pain and craving and all these crazy feelings that come with pregnancy. I would love to make you a deal. I want to adopt her and make her my baby, and I promise to take care of all the children's needs until they're independent. What do you say?" Well, I looked at her with absolute disgust. How do you want to reach the destination without going through the journey? And here I thought that the father was crazy, but she is even crazier. I said to her, "Hello to you, Jolene." With sarcasm. "You've never said hi to me once. Never have you asked if I'm okay when I was pregnant. And never have you ever asked if I was craving anything. And now you show up and tell me some nonsense about taking my children away, huh? Why do you think I told your father that I was not going to be a stay-at-home mother? That's because I don't want my children to be dependent on anyone else except for their parents." Well, honestly, she cannot believe the first ever conversation that we have went sideways so quickly. I'm about to give my child away and let her grow up under the dictatorship of his family. Her father later came home and Jolene put on an act. She started weeping out loud and her father asked her what was wrong, and it was for her to tell him that I have insulted her when she was only asking politely to have one of my children. She referred to my baby as if she were some doll. How can I give someone like that the life and, well, needs of my child? Her father was not at all happy with me. He walked towards me and I quote, "What Jolene says is, well, my say. This is what she is my personal assistant. So I'll call the lawyer and get ready for the adoption. You have said no to me once. And I do not do anything to you because you have given me grandchildren, but do not do it again," he said to me without a smile. "No, father-in-law, I'm not giving my children away to her or anyone else," I replied to him with anger, and there was nothing to be happy about because they were planning on taking my children away from me. They have no idea how many times I cried myself to sleep because I thought I was going to live and grow old without children. They have no idea how much I've cried when they started looking at me and treating me like a male tree. And how much I've been hurt when they said it was my fault that I could not have children. And now that I'm blessed with children, they want to take them away from me. I'm going to stand my ground and refuse whatever their deals are because none of my children's lives is worth money on material things. I'll do anything to protect my kids, even if it means leaving this house, and I will not let them do this to me. I am no one's surrogate. I was also so busy with work, but I had to go through the 9 months of craving and other things to see my children. Why is her father expecting her to work every time and still wants her to have children? Who does he really think he is? No one gives a crap about his money. He acts as if he owns the world, but he doesn't, and he most definitely does not own me. Anyways, let me log out for now. I have to check up on the little ones. Updates number 4. Hey guys, so it's actually been about 3 months since my last update, give or take. And it's not going well with this house. Not at all. Everyone is on my case and they're trying to make my life a living hell because I chose not to give away one of my babies to Jolene. I have to ask Mark just to move out of the house so many times, but his father's threatening him and now Mark is even scared of leaving. Well, just to go to work. He's being a mommy's boy and he has no idea that this is hurting me. Even though he's forced to take his father's side and not mine, he's still my husband, and I expect him to do just as we vowed to do. On our wedding, he vowed to always defend me and my dignity, and he vowed to always be with me in everything, and now he's taking his father's side. His father threatened him that if he leaves the house, he'll be fired and cut out of the will. Does money matter more to him than to our children and me? I'm starting to hate his father so much because he's making my stay in the house so painful. All I want is to have a life that I deserve, just like any other mother out there, so the fight for Jaylene continues in the house, and it's only me against them, as not even my husband is on my side. All he says is this, "Oh, just let her have her baby. We can always adopt another child." Why should I adopt a child when I already have 3 babies? So, Jolene is so special that she cannot go and adopt from the orphanage, apparently, and does she just want my child? I'm planning on running away from here and disappearing for good, because that is the only way I can think of to keep my babies out of harm's way of all these crazy people. I'm willing to leave Mark if that means I will have some sort of peace. I even feel like the spark between us is fading because he does not have it in him to stand against his father and protect what he actually loves the most. Well, what if he loves his family more than his own children? Something that is so important more than anything is just mental health, you know. And right now I'm going through a lot. I'm no longer allowed to eat at the family table, nor am I allowed to eat food prepared by anyone, and I'm also not allowed to touch any spices or cooking utensils. I had to buy everything on my own in order to eat something, and Mark sometimes tries to help out, but he's monitored by his father's men, and if he helps out too much, his credit cards will be blocked. What a life a man is putting his children through and then claiming that he loves them, huh? Well, I now have to do my own laundry and clean the room on my own, and this is as good as renting, and it's not doing me any justice. They have cut me off for good and said that until I decide to give away my baby to Jolene, I will be a stranger. They even had the audacity to move my husband out of the room, and Mark ran to do it just like the little puppy that he is, and I hate this place and everything that comes with it, and I regret everything except having my babies. You have no idea what kind of pain I'm feeling right now. This is a house of torture, and now I understand why Jolene and Judy are not married, because nobody wants to marry in a house of crazy people. I was blinded by love, but I cannot say that the love is still here. Update number 5. It's been 2 years, and this is my final post. A year and a half ago, I had almost lost my children for good. When Marco and his family realized that I was not giving them Jaylene, even with the torture they put me through, they decided that I was to be thrown out of the house and leave all the children, so I woke up in the morning as usual to make myself breakfast, as I was never included in the family meals, and as I walked past the living room, I noticed Jolene and Marco standing there, and they stared at me as I walked past. I did not bother to greet them, as I was not even allowed to talk to anyone. Marco called unto the guards, and they hurriedly showed up in the living room, and his calling startled me, and I stood still. Now, Stacey, you have 1 minute to choose between giving Jolene one of your children and leaving this house, and remember that when you leave here, all the children will remain behind. Not allow my grandchildren to leave with a shameless and ungrateful person like you, so what's it going to be? He said to me, and usually I would answer back, but I was in no position to say anything because I would end up losing all my babies. One way or the other, I had to stand up for myself and put him in his place. Something that you're supposed to know, Marco, is that you disgust me. And when I see your ugly face, I feel like throwing up, and you can't possibly take my children from me. A mother's love is mandatory to the children, and that is why your children cannot stand against your stupid rules, because they have no mother to teach them how to. I said to him with absolute fury in my eyes, and he could not stand the truth and come forth and slap my face. A tear rolled down my cheek. Guards, take her away and never let her come back here ever again. He commanded the guards, and they grabbed me by the wrist, and I screamed my lungs out as the thought of not seeing my kids ever again went through my head. And I cried out. A voice from the upstairs hit the ears of everyone. Stop! And then we all looked up and saw that it was Mark. He ran downstairs and demanded that the guards leave me alone, and they did. I have had enough of you and your stupid dictatorship, Dad. If Stacey says she'll not give her children away, then she will not. Why do you always use the force to gain respect? Respect is earned and not demanded for, Father. For once, be responsible and encourage your daughter to have a baby if she badly wants to have one. My wife and I will not be giving away our children to Jolene. I'm sorry, Dad. Mark finally spoke up to his father. Marco could not believe that his own son had spoken up against him, and Mark quickly went to my room and carried the children out, and when he came back, I helped him carry the children and we left. He left the whole family shocked that no one had the energy to actually even try to stop us. He quit his job as his father's company was slowly approaching bankruptcy, and his father had no money to make our lives hard anymore, and I could not thank Mark enough. Although it took him a long time, he still stood up against his father and protected his children. I'm now back at work, and Mark managed to find a job as he is a child of a famous man. So I ask you guys this. Am I the a-hole for intentionally turning a family against itself? And I first thought that my stay at their house was going to be remarkable. Little did I know that they were all living in their father's hell. I'm glad Mark manned up to put Marco in his place and show him the real world. He gave up his inheritance and cut the whole family off.
I mean, this family was out of control. Where do we start? Do we start with Mark, OP's significant other, who did not stand up for his own significant other until the end of the story? Do we start with a family who's trying to take away a mother's baby simply because pregnancy inconveniences them? I mean, this story was just off the wall. I want to hear from you guys what exactly you think about it. I just need to know because this story had my brain going crazy. Drop your thoughts directly below in the comment section. What do you think about OP standing up for herself also? And do you think Mark deserves to stay with OP? I think, and a lot of commenters too, OP needs to leave Mark. Get the heck away from that whole family because Mark did not do anything for OP with all the abuse she had to put up with, and it was literally just because he didn't want to stand up to his family? I don't know. Let me hear from you guys. Drop it in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed today's video. My name's Mr. Reddito. If you want to see more daily videos, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.